Hello, Matt Kahn.
Hello, how you doing?
Thank you for joining us on Skype.
Thanks for having me.
So you're kind of you're a spiritual teacher, but your main focus really from what I've seen is really all about love. You teach people unconditional love and the miracles it can create in life, don't you?
Absolutely. Normally we think of love as the love that we share with our partners or that we share with our friends and family. And oftentimes it creates this idea or this sense that the things in my life are there to fulfill me. And what I've actually discovered in my own life, and of course working with many, many people, is that when we start to realize that the love within our own heart purifies itself by the willingness we have to share it with others, then we can start to kind of come into a better relationship with our life. And instead of looking at life as, let me enter into my day and see what's going to be here, and let me see if it's going to fulfill me, and if it doesn't meet my expectations, my day is horrible, and if it does meet my expectations, well, I guess it's okay. But really what we find is the way we transform our reality is when we notice that everything we see is a request for gratitude and a chance for us to give our love away as a chance to purify the love that lives within our hearts that really has no end. And it's just a blessing to be able to introduce people to the infinite depth of love that they are.
Mm-hmm. So you really see love as this main ingredient really for our soul, to help our soul express itself on this planet, don't you?
I would say that love is actually what we are, meaning that we are all expressions of energy. The energy that we're an expression of is consciousness, and consciousness and love is inseparable from one another. So we all look like separate beings, and this life that we're experiencing is the dream in which love gets to appear as many people and experience what it's like to give its love away or give itself away to all versions and forms of itself. So I would say that yes, love is the main ingredient of our soul's evolution. Of course, what we come here to learn are all the infinite ways in which we can unconditionally give and receive love. And at the same time, the way that life goes about teaching us this is oftentimes something that is not normally talked about or seen in an obvious way. And when one can awaken to the reality of what or how love is being introduced into our lives and how every moment of life is giving us a chance to love at a deeper level, then the joy of life transforms itself quite miraculously.
So you have a lot of tools and exercises that you teach people on how to open the heart and how to connect to this infinite love. Could you share some of those steps so that we can practice that also in our life?
Well, the first thing I would say is when we look at our external reality, and in a lot of times when we're thinking of co-creation and manifestation and how to create our own realities, we have an idea of what we want to create. We go about our day and we face different moments of interactions. And a lot of times we ask ourselves the age-old question of things show up and we ask ourselves, why did I manifest this? And I think that what I'm about to share can be the first step in understanding why we manifest and attract everything that we attract in our lives. And if we're going to talk about tools to open up our hearts into love, the first and most important ingredient in every one of our lives is actually something that is a little unexpected. And the most important tool in your life are all your human reactions. On a spiritual path, it's mostly thought or talked about that in order to be an evolved human being, or in order to be a positive human being, you must not have any negative reactions to the world. You must try to be a conscious being and not react, and then you will be an expression of the divine. And what I'm here to actually suggest is a little bit different, that the universe creates and manifests situations that you appear to be experiencing to guarantee the absolute right reaction out of you at the exact moment. And what's so extraordinary about this is that the deeper reason why you're reacting to what you react to is because if we don't label the reaction that happens, but instead we just locate it, where do I feel in my body this reaction to this person, to this situation? And if we can just locate in our bodies where we feel this reaction, we then can locate the exact part of the body that is reacting only as a way of asking for our love, to receive our love in a way that it's never received love before. So if you could imagine being cut off in traffic and you immediately have a reaction of being appalled by someone's behavior to be so insensitive or to be or to not consider your feelings. You can either blame them for cutting you off, or you could blame yourself for reacting and thinking that you're not going to get a gold star for your spiritual day of achievement. But beyond all that, you could say, wow, this person played a part in cutting me off, so that when I react, I could feel where I'm reacting and notice that is the part of the body that is asking me to make it its object of affection. And so, like right now, if we could just have an experience of this together, of what it means to really love a part of ourselves, we could probably see how transformative this can be. Do you want to?
Of course, let's go for this.
So if I were to ask you, where in your body right now do you feel, whether it's the heaviest, the tightest, or the place in the body?
Right side of the neck.
Oh, good. You're already there. So let's try this. Just close your eyes and bring your attention just to that part of the neck. Just bring your attention to the center of where you feel that sensation in the neck. And in your mind to that part of the neck, just in your mind to that part of the neck, I want you just to, in a gentle voice, like you're talking to a beautiful child, I love you. I love you. We're not making the pain in the neck a problem. We're not thinking it should go away. We're actually just meeting it as an acknowledgement that if it gets our attention, it's only here to be loved, like a child that only acts out because it wants to be loved with your attention. I love you. I love you. And the softer we speak and the slower we say the words, I love you. 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 And you can even say to that part, I know you're only getting my attention because my eyes are always looking at the outside world, and you just want me to give you all my attention and to remind you how deeply you're loved. I love you. 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 So what are you noticing about the pain in your neck when you do that?
It's good. If it's relaxing. It's chilling now.
Chilling. And see what happens is that in all parts of our body, there are cellular memories that record all of the experiences we've had throughout our lives. As children, we use our external world, or we think that the external world is there to love us in the way we want to be loved. And even though as adults we can rationalize and think we've worked a lot of things out, in the memories of the cells hold the memories of all these different versions of who you were at various ages. And every human reaction that arises are these patterns of cellular memories that are really just bringing your attention to the parts of yourselves that have never been loved by the ones you wanted to be loved by. And of course, those parts, those patterns, no matter what you spiritually do, cannot unravel, because first of all, it's not a problem. What it actually is just a pattern of energy that is there waiting to be loved by the you who remembers feeling the way it felt, and only you can love yourself the way that you know that you can and that you deserve to be loved. And so literally, if you think about it, the pain in the neck is just an opportunity for you to no longer see the pain in the neck as something in the way of you in your life, but as a chance for you to stop and to go, how amazing it is that I can consciously realize that this pain in my neck is inviting me to stop what I'm doing, and in the exact moment this part of myself needs my love the most, I'm there to pour love into myself. And the more love you offer yourself by meeting every reaction, By daring to love where you feel that reaction, then you have more love to share with the world. And of course, because you and I and the world are all manifestations of the same source and energy, when you love one person, that love that you offer them fills the hearts of all beings in all dimensions and all planets. And when you dare to love yourself and even one part of yourself, all of yourself and all universes are infused with that love. And so really, it's not about I love myself instead of the world, and I take care of and I love the world, hoping it will love me back and then I'll feel good. It's really how to love yourself by the situations it puts you in. But how you react is showing you where to direct your love next. And when we can learn how to come into alignment with the universe like that, it's actually coming into the deeper truth of the law of attraction. Because if I were to define the law of attraction, I would say the law of attraction teaches you simply that which you attract is causing you to react as a way of showing you the next part of yourself that you can love as you've never loved it before. And it's just such a transformative way of going about life.
So it's really we're attracting exactly what we need for our evolution.
Right, and the misperception is we think that our reactions that we could call are negative or positive will sidetrack us or get in the way of us creating the lives of our wildest imaginations. That, really to create the life that you want to see that might appear differently than the one you're in right now, one would have to be in vibrational alignment with that new reality. So what does that really mean to be in vibrational alignment?
Exactly. That was my next question.
Well, hey, look! We're just on the same page. But vibrational alignment, if you think of the word vibration, it means energy. And anytime energy is translated or manifested into a physical world, anything that is of an energetic pattern is experienced in human consciousness on an emotional level. So energy translated into a human experience causes emotional reactions. So when someone is reacting in a negative way, it is actually the sensation of that negativity that's deep within someone's cellular memory that's being stirred up in their field. And when you're reacting, what you're feeling is already leaving your energy field. And when we stop to then think and talk about it, and to put stories to our reactions, we're now talking about what's no longer in our energy field, and we're relating to the problems of our own emotional imbalances in memory. And so what this means is to come into vibrational alignment with what you want to attract. I mean, if we thought about this simply, when you imagine the life of your wildest imagination, no matter what that would include, the reason why you first envision the life of your wildest imagination is because once you can picture the life that you want, you have an opportunity to feel what it's like to live in that reality. Now, most would say that you have to walk around your life pretending like you're already there. Mm-hmm. You have to live as if. Mm-hmm. What I would say is that the reason why you're envisioning your future is to really find out what it actually feels like to live in that future, because the real reason why you want to create, or any of us want to create the lives we want to create, is only because we want a reality that allows us to feel more of what we want to feel. Now, the interesting thing is, when you can start to meet your own reactions as a way of saying, every time I react, I locate where I feel this reaction, and I spend 30 seconds or a minute just sending I love yous to that part of my body, not with divided attention. I give it the fullness of my attention. And the more you offer to your reactions and to yourself this love, and you'll know exactly the time and exactly the place of your body to offer this love, because the reaction will tell you and show you exactly when you need to love yourself and where that part of the body is, then every time you do that, you're putting patterns in the field of consciousness that bring you into a different vibrational alignment. And over a period of time, this will change how you feel internally. It will then change your perceptions of the external world. And then over a longer period of time, which isn't that actually long, it will actually change the physical manifestation of your physical world. So literally, by learning to change our relationships with our reactions, and learning not to judge what arises, learning not to blame whoever or ourselves for what arises, but learning to love and accept what arises is a chance to love in ourselves what's never been loved before. We come into right relationship with the universe. We come into a deeper vibrational alignment with who we really are as love appearing as individuals. And once you're in a place where you're in greater relationship with yourself and your perception of the world, then your external world can actually change. Because most people don't realize that life is manifested in an ongoing pattern to bring your attention to your reactions so that you can finally love what has never been loved before. And if we're not loving what arises, you now see why your external world doesn't shift and change. And when you start to love what the world is giving you a chance, or the universe is reminding you what to love in yourself, the universe has nothing to remind you of, and the universe is now forced to change how it manifests itself and how it appears in your life. So really, this process of learning deeper what love really is actually, to me, the essence of the law of attraction. And it's something that has never really been talked about that I'm now sharing with the world, because I think in a time like this, when so many things are constantly changing, we can't live lives dependent on our external realities or the things we acquire or the things we achieve that are so temporary and fleeting. We can no longer define our happiness.
So shall we just love what is happening unconditionally without putting out our desires and our intention, knowing that everything will come out in different divine time? And
well, what I would say is that every desire that you have for whatever you want, if you think of the inner child, the archetype of the inner child inside of you, imagine a child that asks its parents for all these toys and wants to go to this amusement park. The child learns to be satisfied by the desires it wants after learning that the true love that it wants is only going to be given in temporary increments. So really what you want, if you really investigate deep into yourself, you want what you think you want because of how it's going to make you feel. And underneath it all, what you really want to feel is love. But you've been trained, just like everyone's been trained in a society, to think that love is only something you can get from others when you make them happy enough to share their love with you. So we've not been trained in a society to learn that those parts of ourselves that haven't been loved, or the ways in which other people disappoint us by not being able to love us to the way we want to be loved, is actually there because it's showing us what we can love in ourselves. And a lot of times the other part of it is people think, well, I don't want to love myself until I become the version of myself I want to become. And if I love my reactions, there's a superstition that maybe if I love my reactions, that's going to keep negative things happening in my life. But negative things are only perceptions, and they only happen so that you can change your relationships with your reactions. And your reactions can just literally show you where next to send love to your body. And if you're not reacting to someone, and they're reacting, then they're obviously the next one in line to receive your love. And so whether it's arising as a reaction to your body, or someone else is reacting, or you're seeing something that you perceive as unfortunate in the world, whatever arises and however it arises in your experience is there for you to contribute your loving efforts, or to contribute your love and your perceptions of beauty, knowing that all perceptions of beauty and all gifts of love that are infused into one manifestation are equally filled in the hearts of all manifestations. So every time you stop to love the neck of Lilu, or you love little Lilu in the heart, or in the back, or as a reaction throughout your day, you have infused all beings and all hearts and all dimensions with that pure vibration of love. And even though you can't see it, a child in a third world country is infused with the same love that you're offering yourself, which means a child in a third world country who is looking for food and desires to be nourished will find that food a second sooner. A farmer who's waiting for their harvest will find it miraculously a couple days sooner. Someone who's in an unfortunate situation will find freedom and find justice just a moment sooner. So when we realize the actual power of our love, and whether it's loving a part of our body, or loving someone that appears in our life, or loving our reaction to something we see in our life. What we're really here called to do is to learn to discover that we are love, masquerading as different people, by how willing we are to give it away to ourselves and the world whenever it arises.
Wonderful. So there's really urgency. There's really urgency to love.
I would say, you could say urgency. I would say eventually we get to a place in our life where we really don't have many choices, because we get to a place where how many spiritual practices do we have to go through in our lives where the problems we perceive as problems are not fixed beyond temporary shifts of state changes and emotional state changes? And how long are we going to live our lives thinking that we have to practice this and do this to try to be happy, when real happiness doesn't require any maintenance? Real happiness is the freedom to enter into any moment and to say, I don't know what's going to happen. It could be surprising, it could be expected. All I know is what I'm here to contribute, and what I'm here to give to others is love. Because when I give love, I'm the first one to feel it. And if you know that what your body is a manifestation of what all bodies are an expression of, it's the same energy, it's the same source, that means that whether a reaction arises in your body that you're loving directly, or the energy of that reaction manifests as the appearance of a separate person that you seem to be arguing with, either way, whether it's the appearance of a different person or a reaction in your body, it's just a unique way of meeting yourself. And so every moment is a chance to come into deeper harmony with yourself and the world. Mm-hmm. Not because of what you'll get out of it, but because the greatest joy on this planet is to live freely as an absolute expression of your true divine essence. And while everyone is already an expression of their divine essence, people are just becoming conscious of the fact of what they really are. And you can know with words what you are. You can read it in a book and go, oh, I'm an expression of Source, but it still doesn't guarantee that you're experiencing every moment of your life in the way the universe experiences itself as you. And so my invitation through this idea of loving yourself, which I call the Sacred Heart Meditation, is the opportunity to know that life is celebrating itself through the journey and experiences of you, and so that none of us have to be left out of the celebration that's actually in all of our honor. So I don't want you to miss out on the party that's in your honor. I don't want you to miss out on the purity and the absolute joy of what experience the universe is having being you, right? The greatest tragedy is when the universe is having a blast being you and you experience something different.
So how did you come to this understanding, Matt? I read that you had an out-of-body experience at the age of 8. Is that where it all started for you?
Yeah, when I was 8, I had an out-of-body experience, and at the time I didn't know it was an out-of-body experience until I crashed back in my body. But I was in this beautiful garden with these colors of these flowers that were so exquisitely beautiful that they were emanating this glowing light of love that I'd never felt before. And that was in the garden where I met one of my first guides, who turned out to be Jesus, who I really didn't know anything about at the time. And it was actually Jesus who, in later conversations, because from the out-of-body experience at 8, I began meeting different ascended masters and archangels throughout my life. And through my various conversations with ascended masters, not only did that activate me intuitively to be able to hear intuitively, to see intuitively, and to feel, because I had to kind of I had to have these abilities activated so that I could have these conversations and listen to what they were teaching me. But they were the only means in which I've learned anything on the spiritual path. And so since I was in my early 20s, I would have regular daily conversations with ascended masters, and I'd meet a different one each day.
How cool is that? Man, come here, check it out. I want a divine conversation.
Yeah, and I would sit in my room and I'd talk to the guides. They give me advice, and they would say, follow our advice, and sometimes I wouldn't, just so I could see for myself. And from this position, not only did I realize that I could have direct conversations with guides, I could dial up any guide and talk to it at will whenever I wanted to, because I had this very open connection. But I began to see that my role was actually to use these abilities to bring people the messages that their guides wanted them to know, which is really so that everyone could be living in alignment with their soul's infinite wisdom. And of course, the soul's infinite wisdom is about learning to love all that we are so that we can realize love is all that we are. And, I met Jesus in the garden when I was 8, and it was Jesus who taught me the Sacred Heart meditation. And when I was taught this, the instructions were very simple. Jesus said, whatever arises, love that. And I literally, for 3 days, went through my life, and anything that arose, I would literally stop and love. And so I was walking down the street, a bird flew by me. I go, that's arising. I love you, bird. It felt kind of silly in the beginning. Then there was the postman walking down the street. I love you, postman. There was a city worker with a jackhammer. That loud noise got my attention. I love you. And of course, my reaction to the loud noise was jarring. So I asked myself, where do I feel this in my body? I said, love there. And I literally just love whatever I saw or felt in the world. And within 3 days, I became completely disinterested with opinions. I had no interest in anything about my past, and everything I knew about myself completely disappeared. And all that was left was this pure experience of appearing to be someone named Matt, but knowing myself to be the absolute purity of love, which is the absolute expression of the universe, appearing within the dream of life. And it wasn't about the words that we can say that can describe this, because it's not a mental thing. Right? This whole awakening that the world's going through is about bringing attention from the mind into the heart. And every time you love a part of your body that reacts, your attention is resting in your heart. Every time you're loving something that you see, attention's resting in your heart. And the more that attention rests in your heart, to just feel what's happening versus to define what's happening, to think about what's happening, or to have an opinion about what's happening, then we start to wake up to the absolute reality of our true divine nature.
Well, Matt, your message is beautiful, is divine, is great. I've been enjoying so much this conversation, and I'm sure everybody who's been watching have too, and we want to hear more from you.
Love to share.
Yeah, thank you. But for now, it's already been 20-30 minutes. Wow. So I want to thank you for this time that you spent with us and sharing and pouring your love. Thank you so much, Matt. Really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing more of you. I know you have a YouTube channel, right?
Absolutely.
I'll link it from this video. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Much love.
If you have any other last little word, we want to hear a last word. A last message, something.
I will share with you what words I heard in my head when everything in my life disappeared. The moment when, as I was loving what arises, these words rang in my head, and I'll never forget it. And it said, there's no one to forgive, there's no one to forget. Love be thy name. Love be thy name.
Love you.
Love you.
Au revoir. Thank you.